Stand Loughborough. Loughborough.
So on each of these, is it displaying? Yeah, just initials.
Oh yes, just initials all the way through. Yep, tuck your chin a little bit in. A little bit up. More. More. A little more. Yep. Actually, find a tiny bit lower. That is perfect. Stop again. And then a little bit to your right. More. Yep. Good. Stop right there. Keep the feet together. Good. So I'm going to strap your knees and ankles. Good. Just hold this position. Yeah, there was a bit movement at the end, so we probably have to do it again.
It was the chair.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow
Yes. You can see that different over here. That's what I was talking about.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So this color marking is the general visualization of your tissue density. So the green region would mean that in that region there's high percentage in lean mass, and then red is high percentage in fat, and yellow is something in between. Don't worry too much about the specifics, like there are two points over here. That doesn't really matter. So this is just a general visualization of how it generally is. Based on this, I would say you're kind of mediocre, probably about 20%, I would say, of body fat composition. Let me see. Yeah, so your total is 19.8%. Yes. So your body mass is 53.8 kilograms. That's estimated by the machine, and we measured 53.4, which is very close to this. This number times 19.8%, that will be your fat mass, which is 10.671 kilograms. So this is the currently most accurate way of measuring body fat composition. So there's no more accurate ways. When they compare when they try to see other methods' accuracy, they compare those to this one. So this is the gold standard for that. So you are 19.8% right now. However, because like runners have a training cycle, and at different phases of the cycle, they're going to be different.
Yes.
So if you could come back every 4 months, are you going to come back?
Yeah. I just said that I will be away until the end of September. We spoke about that.
Yeah. So yeah, good. So if you come back every 4 months, and then at that time, if you're at a different phase of a training cycle, you're going to see changes over here. So may I ask, like, what kind of phase are you at?
So I just did Manchester Marathon about 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
So I was recovering last week, and this week is like a low mileage, and I'm doing another marathon in a week.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'll be focusing before September on short distances, 5K, 10K, and then my new marathon cycle will start in September. Pretty much.
Yeah. So so now you're like in the middle of 2 competitions, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're probably at your pretty lean kind of state right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So potentially next time when you're a little bit further from the race, this number may increase a bit. But let's see how it goes. Yeah. You can be either way. Yeah. So this graph shows you against the database. So the database is for the general public. It's for white females because it's only available for white people only. So it's white females only. I'd say it's okay. It's like,
I am a white female.
Yeah. So this is your age over here, and then your body fat composition is right here. So the bolded line in the middle, that's the average within the age group. And then the dark purple region is 25% above and below the average. And then this is another 15% above and below. So that places you in the leanest 10% in your age group, which is very good. Yeah.
Good.
So
Happy with that?
that's a very good body fat composition. Good. Perfect. So this is the major thing we get out of the total.
Yeah, I use those scales and stupid stuff that.
Oh yeah,
estimates were way off that.
Yes.
How close are these scales in comparing with this?
The scales are not even close.
Apps or mobile apps and something like that.
Yeah.
How close?
I had 15 on the scale.
So not even.
Yeah. So
close.
The scales are based on a lot of assumptions. They assume like
resistance is just the resistance that they measure. Whatever.
Yeah. It's called bioimpedance. So they only measure the electrical resistance it passes through. It's not really accurate.
Cool.
Perfect.
Good to know.
Yeah. So let's move on into the regional scans now. The lumbar spine. And then your forearm density, that's a bit below average.
I see.
So that is below 1 standard deviation already. So that puts you in the lowest 16% in your age group.
Okay.
Yeah, and also apart from the light blue region, there are a lot of colorful regions over here. These are based on what's called the T-score. That's objective risk score for you. Okay. So these are based on population, but the risk doesn't really care what population you're in. It only cares like your density. So these are, you can see, it doesn't vary across age. It's just the risk score. And then less than -1, which is the light green region, that will be categorized as low density. Yeah. So just for reference, if you're less than 2.4, so in the middle of the yellow region, that's osteoporotic. Yeah. So you're far from osteoporotic, but then you want to make sure that you do not use any muscle force to hold yourself up. So just fully relax onto the holder. If you do use your muscle force, your muscle is going to twitch, and then that's going to show up on the scan. Also, during the scan, try not to talk or even move other parts of your body, because you want to make sure you're just staying right there for you to take a very slow measurement. Yeah. So now if you could flex your knee a little bit. Yeah, that's good. More. Good. So make sure you can fully relax. Yeah.
Relax in the chair as well.
Yeah. So now I will move this back and forth, and what we want is that the ribs inside never touches your skin. Yeah, so if it touches, just let me know, and I will adjust positions for your leg to make sure it doesn't touch.
It does.
It touched at the bottom.
Yeah.
Put you over there on top. So you're like looking down on your lower leg like this. This shape over here, that would be the fibula. That's the one on the side of your lower leg. And in this shape, you'll see that more clearly later. That's the tibia. That's the shin bone. And then this thing over here that's called talus, that's the ankle bone right underneath tibia and fibula. Yeah, so with this scan, we're only just trying to find the right position for the actual scan. So, 4%. So you can see over here, the Achilles tendon is right here, it's kind of visible. And then you can see the tibia is over here and the fibula is over here. The white layer on top is called cortical bone. That's on the outer layer of the long bones, and that's not the most compact form of bone in the body. And then inside you see the red part, that's called trabecular bone. Trabecular bones are web-shaped, it's like porous, it has holes in it, so it's not as dense, but it also makes blood. So these are the tibia and fibula. And then when you move up towards your knee, you can see that the trabecular layer disappears and it's only cortical layer. You can see the cortical layer becomes thicker and there's a bone marrow inside. Yeah. So this shape, I would say it's not like on average, like compared to most of the other scans I've seen, it's a little bit thinner than the other scans. And then you can see this is even closer to your knees, so moving even a bit more up. You can see the shape changes in the cortical layer. Like this shape is very individual, so everyone is different shape. There are people who have similar shapes, but like it varies a lot between individuals. It varies somewhere between like a triangular shape and an oval shape. So there are plenty of shapes like these people. Normally people are thicker on the front and back compared to the sides, which is normal in your case. But I can see on the sides it's a bit thinner than average. So the cortical layer being thinner would mean that it's not as resistant to stress as like normally. This is for like an incidental break. Like it would take maybe less force to break this bone than another bone with a thicker cortical layer. So have you ever experienced any injuries, bone related? Nothing?
No, not so far.
Yeah. So we don't really have any numbers now. We will analyze numbers out of these later and then see how those may correlate to different factors. Also, normally the shape itself is highly genetic. So the running study we're doing right now, we are expecting about 130 people. We are recruiting actually 150 because some people will drop out during the period of time. So our expectation at last is at least between 110 and 130 people. And now we already have, she's 99, and we have already some other people registered for the spots. So we now have about 130 something already, and we're still recruiting for May and June, and we're drawing the deadline June for the baseline testing. So what the study is that we'll be doing a series of baseline testings on a group of runners, and then we will track them for a whole year for any for their training volume, training modality, training intensity, and also all kinds of injuries that experience in the form of pain and discomfort via a weekly questionnaire. So every week we'll be sending the runners a questionnaire asking them how much you trained and whether you've experienced any pain or discomfort on your body, just musculoskeletal pains or discomforts. And if they had, we'll ask a series of more questions about the intensity of the pain, how it affected you, and then that will be assigned a score based on the level of the pain or discomfort, and then that will be registered as a potential injury. And then with the baseline testing, we're mainly looking at the bone densities, which is measured through the DEXA machines and the PQCT, and also some simple biomechanics measurements that we just measured called heel angle and navicular drop. Also, we're looking at the force profile on the treadmill, so she'll be running at warm-up level, and then we're going to track the force that she experienced during the running, and also we will be tracking her strength, so mainly hip abduction adduction and knee flexion extension strength on the isokinetic dynamometer. So what we'll be looking at are the peak torque or peak force of the strength level, and also the joint angle at which she reaches that force during the movement. So some people reach the like, for instance, when they're doing a hip abduction adduction, the angles are like this, so that's an abduction adduction. Some people reach their max force at here, some people reach it at here, and then there's a difference over there. So we're going to track both of those, both the maximum force they do and the angle at which they reach that maximum force. And also, we are also doing a food diary every 4 months to track the nutritional intakes and some baseline questionnaires. So before the study, they're doing a questionnaire for some baseline, for instance, their past injuries, past training, etc. So we're gathering all these information and see how those can be related to the injuries during the year that we track through the weekly questionnaires. So it's these are all factors that have been shown, like by previous research, to correlate with injuries. Like strength, the strength we measured have articles. They already found a relationship. We're just trying to find this again, and then see whether they can really be correlated to a larger population of runners. And also, for some of the strength measurements, we're not doing exactly the same as they did before. Most of the people, when they do strength, they do isometric measurements. So they only fix it at a certain angle and then just test the strength right here without moving. But we're actually doing a moving strength test. and also with some other measurements. There may be a little bit difference in the way we measure, but it's the same thing that's been shown to correlate with the injuries. So we're just doing all these series of tests again, and then see how they correlate with the injuries. And also there are some other interesting things that we may expect to find. For instance, in terms of bone density, the PQ-CT scan on runners, that hasn't really been done a lot before. So we can kind of see how runners' PQ-CT scans are compared to general public, like because runners only experience force in the front and back versus the sides. These are also just things that are interesting, that we may find something, we may not, but we'll just try to look at the data after we do all the tests and see if there's a pattern. Yeah.
Okay.
So what would you say, like for your own research, would be the most remarkable finding, or most interesting that you would, like to find? And well, I know it's early, but
yeah.
As a researcher, what you'd be excited, to find?
So an exciting finding would be like some of the factors do correlate. For instance, if the strength testing that we're doing, we're doing an isokinetic test, so you'll see that later. So basically, it's a moving strength test rather than a strength test where you just fix it here and then do a force plate. And also the joint angle at peak force, that is something I don't think has been done before. So people haven't really looked how that may relate to running injuries or even performance. So if we do find a correlation of runners that are higher performing, better performance, do tend to experience max force at a certain angle, then that may be an important biomechanics factor that predicts performance. Mm-hmm. And also if runners that reach peak force at a certain angle experience less injuries, like for instance, they experience less knee injuries, that may be a significant biomechanics factors that predict knee injuries. And also we'll be able to find for certain runners whether they tend to experience injuries after experiencing a larger volume of training, because we're tracking training volume together with the injuries. So if they tend to, for instance, if they suddenly increase their training volume and then they tend to get injured, then we know sudden change in training volume may lead to injuries. If their training volume is pretty high before every single one of their injuries, then we can say, okay, above a threshold of a training volume, that can be leading you to more injuries. So those are something that are good to know, and also can let runners keep in mind that, okay, these are the ones that will lead to injuries. Yeah.
And when do you expect results?
So our baseline testing, so this first round of testing will be done by the end of June. So we're drawing the deadline at the end of June, and then there will be 1 year of tracking. So all the tracking will be finished next year at the end of June, and then there will be data analysis. Data analysis can take, I don't really know how long, because we're expecting to find, like we're expecting to look at a lot of things, and whether we can find good results or we don't really know.
Yeah. So not before the end of next year, ideally.
Yeah, but potentially, yeah, because like at the end of next year will be the end of like my 3 years of PhD. Yeah, so I may have to.
That could be extended.
Yes, yeah, I may have to extend my PhD just to do data analysis because it's a lot, and the write-up will be a lot.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Good.
Thank you very much. Idemo u Performance Center.
No, from last week she said something. Oh. Sorry, I know I'm gross, but
Cool. Yeah, you've got a gym here, everything. No excuse.
I know. Oh, whoever was here took all the stuff.
Yeah, so we just switched into another computer, so all the not really, because like when Julie was here, I didn't know there was a new computer, and then everything that we are tracking data between this and this box. So these force plates underneath the treadmill is between this and this.
So I'm not crossing over.
Yeah, so when you're landing, try to make sure you're always easy. Okay. And not land in front of you, back. Also, at the very start, when you're just hopping on the treadmill, do this as wide as possible. Make sure your feet are not touching anywhere in the first place. You will have to down it to 2 kilometers per hour, and then 0 to 4th place when it's running, and then let you run. Yeah, so at the beginning, try to not trigger the treadmill at all. Be as wide as possible with the feet.
Yeah.
With typical forefoot or midfoot runner, you see this kind of thing. So it's like a smooth graph, smooth kind of peak. But with the rear foot runner, we typically see a peak at first and then another peak. This peak at first. So this is the vertical force. That's like. With this peak at first, that's when your heel lets the ground. That creates the initial impact, and then when it rolls over, with the forefoot, that's when it creates the other.
Yeah, I don't think I ever land with the heel, to be honest.
So the force profile over here, you can see that. So I don't know which one is left and right, but one of them is left and the other is right. Obviously, right? So you can see one of them is consistently having 2 peaks, and the other one is consistently having 1 peak. Yeah, that is so that is not a typical pattern we find. So that's quite unusual. Like not unusual is not the right word, but it's just not. Yeah, it doesn't happen with every runner. Okay. So your case can be quite special. I don't really know whether it has had any implications at all. So it's just an observation that maybe at 12 it doesn't happen at 10. So I can show you your. So this is you at 10.
So maybe when you speed up a little bit.
Yeah, so at 10, yeah, we can just check one of the sensors. So you can see that. One is consistently larger than the other one, but that can be due to sensors, because sensors are on the 4 corners. So it can be due to the fact that like one sensor is placed close to one leg, that's possible. But you can see here, there's not really, you can see that a little bit, but not very much. So you can see this is quite a smooth graph, this one is not quite smooth. So these are all
largest gym in Europe.
Before I came, I googled it, and it says it's one of the largest gyms in Europe. It's not that large, but it's quite large. So it's called Powerbase. And then the other side, because many people are in the Powerbase, like there are like more than 100 people every day, every time point. So they decided to just do the new one, kind of
offload.
Yeah. There's already another gym on the other side of the campus, but both of the gyms are filled with people every day. So they just decided to do the new one on the other side of this building. So now the old one's called Power and the new one's called Base. Previously it's a Power Base.
Okay. Is it mostly students in it?
Yeah, but the old Power Base for that gym between 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. to 4 p.m. Just athletes time. So it's only for like athletes. So normal like food supplements, they all go into the food diary. I will send you an email with some instructions and an email with the link to the food apps. So in that food app there will be a database. You'll be able to search food in it. So for most of the stuff, if you can just define it there. you will also need to weigh it if it's not in portion, if it's not like one package, which will have it in the database. You'll have to weigh it with the kitchen scale, and then we'll provide you with the kitchen scale.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
So,
okay.
And then there will be a weekly questionnaire. So that will reach you every Sunday. So the first one will be this Sunday in the morning. Yeah. So the weekly questionnaire will be quite short. It will take only about 3 to 5 minutes each week. Doing 2 exercises for both sides, so 4 in total. One is called hip abduction adduction, that's this movement. The other is knee flexion extension. I'll teach you what we'll do. So each exercise will have 2 warm-up sets and 5 extra sets. Each set will be 4 reps only. So the actual recorded set where you have to try your best is 20 in total. So yeah. Good. So that was a good set. Let's start with the actual ones. The actual ones do 100%. So your maximum force, both upward and downward. Yeah, just squeezing your leg a little bit more. Good. Yep. I'll help you hold it down. Go. That's very good. Good. Yeah. So after the 4th one, you can just relax. Good. Perfect. So that was the first warm-up set, 57, 105. That's really good numbers. And then we're going to do the second warm-up and then jump into that. Good. I'll hook back this tiny little bit. Yeah, so if you don't do that, it doesn't know you finished. Yeah, because like you're still doing the last one. Yeah. It's okay. So let's move on to the actual ones. Make sure to try your best.